Hello, my friends. Welcome to another neck and shoulder release based snake and turtle Qigong set. If you're finding yourself here at random, please recognize this is part of a 100-day series, and so it might be best to start at the beginning. And also remember that there are lots of videos teaching each of these movements separately as part of the snake and turtle Qigong series. And in each of these classes, I have been mentioning these wonderful little tools that I have. For instance, the liniment that I recommend to people at the beginning of each class to help soften up their neck and shoulders a little bit, to make the class a little bit more effective. And as well, I was talking about this in the last class, the standing posture class. This is a bag filled with lentils, beans, maybe flax. And you can throw this into the microwave and place that on your neck and shoulders. And for those of you who find heat to be very relaxing and relieving of your tension, this can be a wonderful addition to your practice, because you can simply stand or do your various movements, and this will continue to help release any neck tension and pain. Wonderful, very inexpensive little tool. This one was made for me by a friend. Let's go ahead and, again, settle just for a few minutes into a basic standing position. Softening your neck, back of your neck, the sides of your neck, your throat. Letting go of your jaw, any tension around your eyes, behind your eyes, softening your forehead. Allowing this great release upward, as well as softening the tops of your shoulders, fronts of your shoulders, backs of your shoulders. Letting your chest sink down. Softening your belly. Relaxing your lower back, your glutes. Allowing your hips to settle slightly, your tailbone to sink. Allowing that settling through the hips to soften your knees, your ankles, your feet. As though there were cleansing rainfall. There's a cleansing rainfall moving from the sky. It falls to the top of your head. Allow it to flow over the surface of your body, washing down to the ground, carrying with it any patterns of tension, as well as any mental patterns, emotional patterns. They all just release down into the earth. These fun visualizations can be a great way to make it interesting enough for your mind to stay present during practice, until you get good enough to simply settle and sink your chi without the need of the imagination. And when you're ready, hands resting on top of your navel, gentle circles. Softening your hands, softening your belly. Your awareness sinking into that space beneath your navel, between your navel and your spine, allowing the warmth of your mind to accumulate there. And then when you're ready, letting go of your arms. Let's begin lengthening side to side, lengthening one side of the neck and spine, and then lengthening the other. As I discussed in the earlier classes, you want to make certain that you do not crimp or close down on the other side of your neck. Make sure that you're simply lengthening on one side more than you're lengthening on the other, continuing to expand to open the upper spine. And then left and right, yin and yang, 所有阴阳 balancing. One side sinking down, growing heavy. One side light and empty. In particular for us, emphasizing the release of the arm, the shoulder down to the hands. Crown of the head continuing to release upward as the neck softens. The whole arm lengthening. And then when you're ready, hands sliding around to your lower back. You can begin to warm the lower back slightly, keeping the shoulders relaxed. You can also move up and down over the glutes, softening the lower back, backs of the legs. And now let's combine those last three movements into snake softening its sides, swaying side to side like a wave, lengthening one side of your spine, lengthening the other. Closing. Everything softening down, releasing your neck, your shoulders, your chest, your waist. Softening your hands and allowing your awareness to soak into your belly like water into dry soil. feeling that space beneath your navel. And then tucking the hips, arching the back. Also side to side. This is just a loosening preparation for the next movement. Bending your knees slightly, letting one side of the hip rise and the other sink. Now let's combine those two movements into one circle, tilting the pelvis around in a circle. If you have trouble making the circle, go back to those singular back and forth movements until your hips are a bit more loose and free. Softening this tight band of tissue here in the front of the hips, both directions. And then, slightly more narrow stance. I'm going to put my hands on the sides of my hips here, this bone that attaches toward the glutes and the thighs, just to remind me to keep this area soft as well as I circle around. Not clenching your glutes, not tightening your thighs. Instead, again, as we've discussed in a number of the other classes, letting go of each of these areas so that you can fall into them. Creating movement through making space rather than through gripping as best you can. Both directions. Be careful not to hold your breath. Softening all the way through. And then, shoulders released. If you'd like to, slightly more narrow stance, as long as you're able to remain steady. Begin spiraling open the upper spine. Not just your neck, but the upper thoracic spine as well moves a little bit so that your neck isn't being forced to make any sharp angles. Returning to the center and then changing direction. Making the circle of the movement only as large as feels comfortable. It can certainly be as small as you need. For those of you who are a bit more practiced, as one side of your neck opens, you can allow that to also release that side of the shoulder, the side of the ribs, the side of the hip, the side of the leg, so that the opening spreads all the way down the body, which is one of the reasons it's nice to put your feet a bit closer together. You can feel this wave of softening and lengthening traveling down along the full length of the body. But that, of course, can take practice. When you're ready, gazing down between your feet, as though toward the center of the earth, softening the base of the neck, the middle of the neck, the top of the neck, letting go, lengthening. Don't close your throat. And then looking up and back, and in the similar way, softening the base of the throat, center of the throat, the top of the throat, releasing the jaw, the tongue, and then looking up and down. Closing when you're ready. Elbows continuing to lengthen away from your spine, sinking and softening down through your torso until your awareness settles inside the body, meditating for just a few breaths, letting your mind become quiet. And if you have any questions, of course, feel free to put them into the comments section. And either I or another one of the experienced practitioners will help to answer your questions a bit. So let's move our shoulders a bit. I'm going to start by rolling one shoulder around in a circle, shoulder blade releasing, moving all the way around. My front leg and arm are going to be relatively stable in place, and the back side will close toward that side and gently open away from it. Full, comfortable circles. My palm turning forward and back with the movement. Deeply letting go with each movement. Don't just make circles without thinking. Pay attention. Let go of the front of your shoulder. Let go of the back of your shoulder. With every rotation, allow this entire section of your body to be a bit softer, a bit more fluid and mobile. I have faith in you. After 100 days of this, you'll be very surprised at how different you can feel. Changing sides. During the 2020 COVID lockdown period, My training partner and I spent several months with this shoulder release set and found it incredibly helpful, transformative, in fact. It was kind of shocking, and we regretted not having spent more time drilling down and emphasizing each of these principles of softness in the neck and shoulders. Both directions. I think sometimes it's difficult to know how much tension you have until it's gone, or until you have somebody like Master Churchung to tell you. And both sides at once. And then diagonal. Remember that most of these I'm doing 9 times in both directions. You can always do more if it feels especially good, or maybe like you especially need it. And of course, you can always do less if it just feels like now is not the right time, or you have an injury. Please be attentive to what your body is asking for, and just take the time to heal. Every single person is different, and every day. So we have to learn to listen. That's one of the reasons to become soft and to become quiet inside. That's how we listen. And then when you're ready, similar to the looking up and down that we did before, let your chin come up to extend forward and down, lengthening the back of your neck, softening open your throat. And as you drop your chin toward your chest and your throat, be careful not to close off your throat. You can allow your shoulders to roll with the movement slightly. And gradually allowing the movement to spread down the body to include the movement of your chest, rising and sinking, your belly and your lower back, your hips gently flexing, your lower back and your tailbone sinking, your knees and your feet, your whole body softening like a wave, softening the front and then softening the back. And then tapering off. And closing again. Let go of your neck, your shoulders and chest. Let everything settle. Especially your mind settles. Let's begin looking left and right. Remember that we allow our eyes and our head to lift up slightly over the shoulder and then look back and down, and then we return to the center. And while we open, that opposite shoulder opens, softening open the front of the shoulder, the space beneath the collarbone, around in the front corner of the throat, an area that tends to be quite shut on people. So we're specifically allowing that to spread open. Taking your time. Allowing your eyes and your breath to be free. As you turn, the side that's opening, release the shoulder, the elbow, the wrist, the hand. So there's a full lengthening open along that side of the arm as well. And then looking down in front, and then up and back. As you look up and back, notice the space in your throat and the front of your chest and shoulder that is allowed to open. It's a different angle, different position. You want to soften through. Your jaw is soft. Your eyes leading the way. And then gently release the tops of the shoulders. Let your elbows sink away from your body. Hands gently settling behind the head. Draw your elbows back, lengthening outward. Hands push gently against the head. Lengthen your spine, drawing your head back slightly, pushing your head against your hands. Elbows draw back. Head draws up and back. Lengthening the space between your elbows. Don't close that space. Lengthening space between the back of your head and your neck and your spine. Lengthening vertically. Lengthening horizontally. And then palms forward, soften your neck, your shoulders, soften to your elbows, release your wrists, settling to the side of your body. And then, hands gently on the back of the head once again. I'm going to use my hands to push my head from side to side. So I'm going to use my left arm to push my head to the left, so I'm looking to the left. Use my right hand to push my head to the right. So I'm just gently looking left and right, but it's a passive rotation, engaging the hands against the head. And please keep the shoulders soft as this happens. There's a way to soften the shoulder to create the movement through the neck. So this isn't just for your neck, but also for your shoulders. Very gentle and kind. And then once again, lengthening outward. Let go of your shoulders, your neck. Head is falling up, hands are falling down. And then, once again, hands lacing together if that's comfortable for your hands. You're going to press your palms upward, sink your hips down, crown of the head floats up, your whole spine lengthens, your body opens, and then palms turn down and you simply soften your shoulders so that the weight of your arms rests on the top of your head if that's comfortable. Crown of the head naturally releases upward. And then again. So you're just using the weight of your arms. You're not pulling down. So this is a gentle stimulus for these postural muscles that help to release the head upward. And then, again, releasing down. On day 10, I'll increase the number of a lot of these movements. But don't do too many too soon, or you just end up being sore and your neck gets more stiff. And that doesn't help anybody. Take your time. That's why we do these in 100-day blocks. So there's plenty of time for cultivation. The side to side head movement. Make sure to keep your face vertical and your face is continuing to face forward. You're not looking left or right. As best you can, softening under the space, under the collarbone, letting go. And then shaking out your spine a little bit from the top down. And then little finger turns in, slides up the body, lower hand, palm down, just in the center of the body. Upper hand rotates around, the shoulders softens down the back of the hand on the top of the head. Let them move away from each other. The shoulders stay soft, softening, lengthening open the spine and the neck. Release the lower hand, palm turns down, release through the body. Soften your neck, your upper spine, middle of your spine, your lower back, tailbone settles. Release all the way to your feet. Other side. Shoulders soft. Lengthen your body. Release down. Soften your face, your throat, your chest, your solar plexus, your belly. Let go of the front of your hips, around your knees, along the shin, tops of your feet. Wait until you're totally relaxed, and then start again on the next side. Melting away. So we use the understanding coming from the last few movements to help create black snake twisting around the tree. A nice combination of all of those. We'll open your shoulders, your elbows moving away from the spine, lengthening around the circle. Hand on the back of the head. Release the lower hand, sinking down. Allow the hand that's moving to your lower back to gently soften and form the lower back to make sure that you're not collapsing or arching your back. Everything stays open and soft. Shoulder blades sinking down, which is one good reason to put your hand behind your back. It positions your shoulder blade nicely. Continue. 2 more times on either side. Of course, can always do more than that if you like. Soften all the way down through your body, through the bones, into the ground. Careful not to twist your knees. closing. Taking the time to settle all the way through, and your awareness to sink deep into the tissues of your body. Giving your mind a break from distractions for at least a few moments. Letting your arms hang and swing naturally. Learning how to let go, not control every single movement. And then, with one foot in front, you open your wings, elbows sink. More importantly, the shoulder blades slide down your back, forward and back. Remember that you're not leaning back. Your elbows are not traveling behind your body. As your shoulder blades sink, don't let your head come forward. Crown of the head continues to release upward. Same way, here, don't let your head fall down. Crown of the head continues to release up, which structures your body a little bit better. Spine continues to lengthen. Your chest rises, your chest sinks. And then, tiger's mouth against the body, elbow lifts, shoulder sinks, palm gently turning forward. Shoulder blade sinks down the back. Don't let your shoulder roll in front, just softening your shoulder. Allow your chest to lift gently, your chest sinks, belly softens. Just like with closing, it's not that you are pushing down with your chest or your hand, but instead you're letting things go. All of the weight falls down through your body. Your shoulder blade falls down your back, leading with your fingers. Making more and more space. Arms as though embracing a big tree. Open your back, opening your chest. Palms turn forward. Palms push forward and away from you. They push away from each other, outside, lengthening the space between your hands. Palms turn forward, sinking down. Opening your chest and back. Elbows a little higher than your shoulders, so that as your elbows sink and your shoulder blades slide down your back, there's room for them to sink. equally. Make sure that you don't arch your back as your elbows and shoulders come down. Instead, you open your back this way. This softens backward. Lower back opens as your shoulder blades sink. And also link them together if that's not too tiring for you. We're emphasizing the softening of the shoulders and the neck. So if you need to rest, of course, please do. But these movements will also strengthen the neck and shoulders gently. One more time. Lengthening your hands away from each other. Release your shoulder blades, palms forward, elbows down. Continuing to soften through your body. Again, softening to the side. Back into this comfortable Wuji position. Neutral posture, everything falling open. So let's combine those last four movements together to create white snake sticking out its tongue. One foot in front. One hand sliding up, center line of your body. The other hand lifting in front, and trade. Again, if these movements seem confusing, remember that there's lots of videos on the channel describing and exploring them, including within this own 100-day series. So don't worry. Shoulder blades slide down your back. Chest lifts, chest sinks. Changing your feet. I'll just point in different directions so you can see. Closing. Noticing how much more comfortable your neck and shoulders and back have become over the last 50 minutes or so. So now let's try the Emperor Penguin movement, as I've called it. It's not its real name. Hands floating in front of the shoulders here. Begin rotating the elbows, letting the shoulders stay quiet and soft. Make sure that as you rotate back, you're not pulling your elbows behind you. Rather, they are lengthening outward to the side, away from your spine. Don't really let your elbows travel behind your back in this case. Spreading open your chest, crown of the head continuing to lengthen upward. Both directions. Emphasizing this release through the shoulders. Don't control the movement. Soften the back of the shoulders, softening the front and out Letting your shoulders release toward the elbows. And then one palm turning toward you. Let the fingertips lead, back of the hands sliding down the side of the body. At the bottom of the movement, this is a very important moment where you let go of this movement. You let it lengthen by softening all of this open. Continuing to lead with the fingers. And then same thing here, very important moment, continuing to soften the shoulder so that it's quiet. Leading with the fingertips, as though it's being pulled around. Don't try pulling with your elbow or anything. And your shoulder releases the movement down the side. Letting go rather than hanging on. It's a very important skill. And then, one foot in front. Both palms turned palms down. One hand slips beneath the other. Both palms turn up. The chest opens, the shoulders are soft, letting go, and then closing. Opening. This side closes toward this side, which is relatively stable, and then opens away from that side. Let your shoulder blades slide down your back as you let them go. Crown of the head floats up, making space in the neck and shoulders. Chest is soft. Chest sinks. Chest opens. The hands turn over around this pivot of the little finger as the chest sinks. Soft, open. Let's change sides. Let's try everyone's favorite movement, golden snake wrapping around the tree. Slightly wider stance. Remember, yesterday we were talking about how important it is that if you take a wider stance that you don't tighten up your leg to step, but instead this is a lengthening. It's a releasing, just the way our arm releases. From our back and our hip, stepping out only as far as is comfortable where this continues to release long without gripping your hip. So please be careful. There's no need to go too far. Continue to lengthen outward from your shoulder to your hand, turning your waist. Don't twist your knees. Chest lifts, chest sinks, because all of this is soft. Hand is released. Very important that as you continue around the circle, especially this next larger circle, continue to breathe comfortably. Don't hold your breath. Don't brace your back. Don't grip your jaw. It's pretty common. You learn to soften rather than tighten to become stable. As your hand lifts, make sure that your crown of your head continues to float upward, softening your throat. Don't duck your head. Let's try it one more time on either side. I don't want to do so many that people begin to feel fatigued or sore. I know this can feel like a lot in the beginning until the movements become effortless. But do take your time. Soften around the circle. Relax your belly. Soften your glutes. Release your shoulder. One more time, emphasizing the length from your shoulder to your hand. Softening down. A wave of release. And then a sinking and settling inside. Taking special note of how much better your body feels. Your system is more likely to maintain those adaptations if you take note of them. Especially after a full hour of practicing releasing this area, your body begins to change. And so the last few movements that we emphasize consolidating and integrating the whole rather than focusing on the particular. So you want to continue to release these areas that we're focusing on, of course, and the movements themselves are particularly good for that. But do have some awareness of your whole body and how it integrates together with these new open spaces that you're creating. For instance, softening forward and back, side to side. Continue to lengthen and release your arms outward. And then soften your shoulders, opening. So there's this sense of expansion and release outward. And then a consolidation toward the center, just like during closing. And then the opposite direction, opening. Continuing to soften your shoulders. And here the shoulder blades slide down your back, your elbows point down, your palms turn in. Sink your chest, your solar plexus, your belly, letting go. Crown of the head continues to fall upward so that you're not ducking your head. One more time. And now, let's try a little bit of this inward direction circle. We were working on the other direction earlier. Softening open the various sections of your throat and your jaw, upper chest, softening from the skull down to the base of the neck, upper spine. Let's also work on a couple of other pieces that are in this next snake and turtle movement. So I'm going to put my hands on my thighs here, shoulders stay soft. And I'm going to let my hips migrate backward while my spine lengthens. Notice I'm not arching my back, I'm not rounding my back or my shoulders. My back is as flat as a table, all the way down. Maybe I can only go this far. So I want to make sure that my neck stays long and my hips stay back and down. And there's a kind of lengthening occurring through my back, softening my glutes, releasing back. Don't go until you feel a stretch. That's too far. Just lengthen and then push your hips forward. So we're not going up and down, as that tends to tighten your lower back and tighten your neck. Instead, what we're doing is letting our hips go forward and back. And sure, when I do that, my head goes up and down vertically, but the emphasis is upon the hips traveling back. And that keeps us from tending to engage our lower back and causing ourselves problems and tension in our neck and shoulders. So instead, again, and I'll go halfway down this time, I'm going to continue lengthening my spine. You don't have to go this far. I'm just using an example. Notice here, my back is still straight, like a coffee table, right? Somewhere in here. My arms are soft, my shoulders are released. I'm simply lengthening my spine through my legs, and then I'm going to push my hips forward. Again. I'll just repeat this a few times. Lengthen your spine. Only go down as far as feels comfortable without trying to stretch. You're not trying to touch your toes or anything like that. It does help increase flexibility over time, but if you go as far as a stretch where you start to feel the body pull back, that's actually going to incur more tension in the areas that we're trying to loosen. Lengthening, softening through the neck. And now at the bottom, let's bend our knees a little more. Let your tailbone sink under, round your lower back, round your upper back, and let your head drop. And you can do this only as far down as feels comfortable, so it's okay if you don't go so far. But you do want to let your whole spine round a little bit. And let's try rolling up. Pause for a moment, standing comfortable. And then again, down, only as far as feels comfortable. Bend your knees, let your tailbone sink, your lower back open, and then round your spine. So it's as though the crown of your head wants to face the floor. As you let your neck fall. Again, just stand up comfortably. So those three shapes that we were just working on, this neck circle, this lengthening of the spine, and this moment where we round the back and open the back portion of our spine, posterior aspect of our spine. Those three are mixed together in this turtle drinking the chi. So let's try that. Remember to emphasize the hips traveling back, not going down. Hips sink back. Lengthen your spine all the way through your neck, only as far as feels comfortable, and then release. Open the back of your spine, from tailbone to the top of the head, and then lead with the nose on the way up. All the way up. Continue until the whole front of your body opens, and then we soften and release. Pause for a moment as the body relaxes. And then again, hips travel back. Take your time, be comfortable, lengthen your spine, and then soften your lower back. And then lift, leading with the nose. Open the front of the body. And then soften. Letting go. Wait for your blood pressure to stabilize. And again. Only as far as feels comfortable. There's no pressure in your belly or elsewhere in your body. Closing. When you're ready, softening upward, lengthening through your shoulders and your hands that direction, all the way around, continuing to soften your shoulders, soften your neck, press up above your head, lengthening your spine, release your wrists, your elbows, your shoulders, sinking down. Soften your neck, soften your shoulders, your upper body, soften your waist and your belly, release your hips, let go of your knees, your feet, and then gently leading with the crown of the head as you stand up, soften your legs, soften your hips, relax your shoulders as your hands come up, crown of the head continues to float up. And we're back here again at the beginning. Make sure you finish before you start the next. Softening through the body. Don't allow your shoulders to roll forward here. Remember, each of these movements is slightly modified to emphasize what we're trying to do. We're trying to soften the neck and the shoulders. So as you come down, make sure that your shoulders don't roll forward. They continue to soften down your back as your hands sink. Shoulders release. Lengthen through your hands, lengthen your neck. Flowing down. Softening your waist, softening your hips, your glutes, space behind your knees, bottom of your feet. Continuing to lengthen your neck. Don't let your shoulders roll forward. And then here, as your hands lift a bit, keep your shoulders soft. They don't need to float up. Only as far down as feels comfortable. Take your time. A little bit softer after each repetition. Let's do it one more time. Lengthening through your body. Release your neck and shoulders. Release your wrists and your elbows. It's like the clarity of the sky washes down through the body. All the way through your organs, through your bones, down through your feet, into the ground, like roots extending from your feet. And then it's like from those roots, you gather up warmth and fullness, liveliness from the ground. It flows up, especially into your lower back, and then forward into that space between the navel and the spine. Closing. Staying soft, opening the front of your shoulder, back of your shoulder, softening your ribs, relaxing the tops of your shoulders, allowing your hands to lengthen away through that sense of centrifugal force. And your arms grow even a little bit longer as they come back in to strike your body, lightly bouncing off of your tissues, if that's comfortable for your hands. But you don't have to hit your body with force, you're just using that centrifugal value, that quality of energy moving inward toward the center. And then if you'd like to as well, the hip, top of the shoulder, continuing to relax your arms. Noticing that sense of warmth and tingling through your limbs, new sense of opening, especially in the neck and shoulders. Freedom of movement, quality of calmness in your mind and in your heart. Hands nice and warm. Soaking into that space around your eyes. Massaging across the face and the ears and the top of the head, back of the neck. Remember, gentle patting. We're not over dispersing. We're encouraging movement to flow to the surface and to fill the channels, not to disperse and cause more problems. Just enough so there's a response from the inside to the outside. Only do this practice when you're feeling nourished and rested. If you don't have enough chi, then there's no chi to bring out. Thank you very much, everybody. See you tomorrow. Enjoy your practice.